But I want to veer off a little bit and get us into the beginnings of a real Alexander technique direction.
Great.
So one way of getting an improvement would be, I know there's movement here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But of course, if there's movement here, it seems pretty likely there's going to be movement of all those little rib joints. I mean, it's the same
Ah,
sternum, you know? So how about expanding expanding your idea of what's going on to the whole, let's say start with the whole upper half of your torso,
okay.
and you could take the route of just knowing there's movement all through here and move, but I want to go past that. You might want to go back and explore that. But
Great.
let's just say, okay, if all of this, everything from here on up, is involved in anything I do with my arms, um, why don't I just think, hey, upper part of my torso is free.
Hmm.
It's free. See what
It's
happens when you do that as you move your arms around a little bit.
upper part of your torso is free.
Well, we're going to quickly go to the rest of your torso. I'm doing this one step at a time,
Mm-hmm.
taking the most obvious connections first.
Just knowing
You
there's
know,
movement.
no, with saying it's free, is that you're now requesting that. There,
Yes.
your conscious brain is
Yes.
saying it's free. That's what I want. But it's not up to your conscious brain to make it happen.
Make it happen. That makes sense to me, Robert. That makes sense to me.
That's how we're structured. That's
Okay.
the system. And as you kind of guessed, I think, really, you might as well just say your whole torso is free.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything is in your body, everything is ultimately connected to everything else. It might seem a long ways away, but your little toe is affected by what you do with your arms too. It's just so distant and so tiny that you're not really going to pay attention to
Got
it.
it.
So you could just think, hey, my torso is free.
It's free. My torso
As
is
I
free.
do whatever I'm doing with my arms.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give you a couple more steps to take on your own to explore. Okay. Why stop with just your torso?
Mm-hmm.
Every part of me is free as I
Is
move my arms or as I do anything else, like walking, cutting carrots, driving a car, using a keyboard, painting the ceiling. Doesn't matter. If
mm,
you would just bring to bear a very light thought,
everything
right,
is free.
I'm free. That's called a freedom direction. That and we're now in the realm of Alexander technique directions.
Okay.
So that's a thought you can apply to any activity you do, and I think especially for you speaking, singing,
Yeah.
speaking for sure.
And maybe that's the thought that I needed to get to instead of like let it go. Yeah. I needed to get to this. My vocal
Let
cord.
it go is if I'm the unconscious mind, and I hear that from you, my first thought as an unconscious mind might be, what's it?
Mm,
What are you talking about?
mm,
And let let's a tricky word. It sounds great, just let, but most people don't know how to let.
mm.
Much better to just think very softly what it is you want. Oh, I'm free would be a nice soft thought to put out there. And it's got a huge advantage over it's one of the it's I think the best self-direction to start with for a couple of reasons. Actually, I just as soon not tell you what those reasons are until we get to some of the others that are in their own ways even more powerful, but come with certain traps. Whereas I'm free, there is nothing, absolutely nothing for you to do to make that happen. You being up here.
Conscious mind.
You that's talking to me right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's not your job. Your
Mm-hmm.
job is just to put out as soft a thought as you can. Not like a military command or anything like that. Like just soft. No, no, no sort of no effort. As little effort as possible.
That's such a
It's a
statement.
thought. Like,
Yeah.
I'm free. It is not your job, this guy's job, to even begin to understand what that means.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, it's too, for most people, that direction is tough to mess up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so
Soft
simple.
thought of- The soft thought of I'm free is a lot easier for me to, I think maybe it's just me personally, for me to understand than the thought of no effort. I think the thought of no effort as an educator and a whatever I am is making me feel like that's me not like putting
Right.
100%
Well,
into my
it's not that there is no effort when you're doing things. You
Mhm,
can't
like
do stuff without some effort.
can't.
We're not in the realm of magic here. You know, I'd like to float across the room and land on the roof without having to actually climb any ladders. No. But so that you are doing things as you go through life. And
Yeah.
that requires some effort. But as
Yeah.
you've already learned, you can cut back that effort pretty dramatically just by saying, not so much. But
Mhm.
I'm free. It takes you a little bit out of the realm of questions like how much or how much should I cut it back. It just says I'm free. And I just have that thought. You could even, if you wanted to, like say you're walking, you could say I'm free while I'm walking, but I think you're better off just thinking I'm free. And you might want to occasionally stop thinking that.
Mhm.
Or substituting a nonsense thought that's not going to have any effect because you want to see what happens when you switch back and forth. You want
Oh,
to make
okay.
sure you want to have some confidence that it's actually improved. So my favorite nonsense kind of thought is something like I'm purple or I'm green.
Like purple.
It's a great thought because your unconscious mind, when you say that, it thinks to itself, well, that's nice, and does nothing. You know what I mean?
Doesn't.
And like it's Nebraska nice, right? Oh, what a
Okay.
nice idea. And we're just going to totally ignore that. Because we know that, for whatever reason, she's chosen to think that, but that's not going to have any effect on what she does. But if you bring that kind of a thought to bear, say if you're walking for a few steps and then come back to I'm free and switch back and forth, maybe do little experiments, 5,
Okay.
10 seconds one way, five short, keep them short and just notice what happens and don't get involved in it. I mean, be careful not to get drawn into anything. Just observe what happens when you switch over to I'm free. And if something dramatic happens, just think, okay, I'll get back to you when the experiment's done and we'll discuss how dramatic it was. But during the experiment, we're just playing with it.
Okay.
It's not serious. Don't be serious about it.
Like,
Marjorie Barstow, my teacher, like lived in Lincoln, Nebraska for 95 years in the same house. She used to say, this work, meaning Alexander technique, is too serious to be taken seriously.
whoa.
Yeah, seriousness is the enemy of ease. And
Mm,
you're just playing little games. Stakes, there's no big deal. You cannot, in this work, make a mistake.
okay.
You might do something that seems to be unhelpful and say, oh, what do I learn from that? But it's not a mistake.
Hmm.
There are no mistakes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot to take in. I don't want to overload you anymore, but I'm gonna send you a couple of things later this evening, probably, that you might want to read. Did I send you any links at all last time or not? Probably not.
Not yet. You sent me
Yeah,
the
I'll send you
recording.
a couple of blogs to read that'll be, I think you'll find kind of worth,
Okay.
yeah. And just play with it and have fun. And don't think of it as I got to do this all the time kind of thing. You're gonna forget about all this a lot of times. But when you
Okay.
remember, hey, I'm free. Huh, wonder what happens when I do that.
Wow.
Yeah,
My goodness, like the transition of the mindset towards everything you're saying, I feel like is I want to do it, but almost it's against my natural thought process.
yeah. Well, for all of us,
Uh-huh. So I'm like,
all
I
of
need to
us.
hear it like 100 times. I need to, but then I'm like, I'm concentrating again. Here I am trying to
But
concentrate.
see, that was not a mistake. That was just, I noticed I went back into concentration mode. How interesting.
Yes. Like when I rewatch this video, the first 5 or 10 minutes, I'm gonna see myself concentrating on
Yeah,
what you're trying to say.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I like concentration has normally been something that's very challenging for me. I can be easily distracted, and then before I know it, someone was trying to tell me something and I didn't hear it because I didn't register it. So sometimes I will make myself really concentrate so that I don't lose what's in front of me.
Right.
So I'm like, no, Celeste, you just need to like find this other place.
Yeah, yeah.
You need to find another place that's not disconnected from the conversations or from what I'm doing.
You don't want to be
Not
disconnected from anything. There's the real
no,
world around you and you're
I want to be
interacting with it.
connected.
You'll be
I
you'll be
don't
more connected.
concentrate.
Concentration is a great way to disconnect.
Mm. Oh geez.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You can
I
bet
think
that cat is not concentrating on anything.
he's such a beautiful example.
He re- cats and dogs. We have a dog. They can teach us a lot about how to be without overdoing.